Homemade sloppy joe. Let me show you how we did it. So I've got some veggies prepped here. I've got one large onion. I've got some red bell pepper, but green bell pepper would work here as well. That's actually a roasted red bell pepper out of the freezer. And I've got one serrano chili here. You could leave the chili out if you don't like the spice. And then I've got a couple of cloves of garlic here. We're going to go to the skillet and get our ground meat browning. I'm going to add just a little bit of avocado oil to get this ground meat started. And I've got 2 pounds of ground chuck. And we're just going to break that all up. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. We're just going to let that meat cook down. So I got my meat browned off. I went ahead and drained the fat out of it, and I'm going to go right in with my vegetables. So I'm going in with those onions, those bell peppers, and that serrano chili. I'm not going to go in with the garlic just yet, but everything else is going in the pan. I'm going to put a little bit of salt on those vegetables and a little bit of pepper. And then I'm just going to saute those down for just a few minutes. So we've got those vegetables softened up. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of tomato paste. Maybe a tablespoon and a half, just enough to coat that in there. That's going to add some thickness to our sauce and some richness to our sauce. Because we're not cooking it very long, that tomato paste will give us a little more flavor in that sloppy joe. And I'm going to go ahead and put my garlic in now. And I'm going to sprinkle in just a little bit of smoked paprika for color and a little bit of smokiness in this. Maybe about a teaspoon. And I'm going to stir that all around. And I'm just going to let that tomato paste cook for a little bit. About 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, we're going to add our tomatoes. I've got a 14.5 can. This was stewed tomatoes, but I put them in my Ninja and just pulsed them. I like the stewed tomatoes better than just the tomato sauce. I feel like that gives it a little more flavor. So to those tomatoes, we're going to add, I'm going to rinse that can out with about 1/2 cup of broth, beef broth. And we're going to pour in that beef broth. And then a heaping tablespoon of brown sugar. About a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And about 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Now, if you like it more sweeter, you can add more brown sugar and less red wine vinegar, but we like it a little tangy, so we're going to go more on the vinegar side than sweet side. And we're just going to give this all a stir. It's a little thick, so I'm going to add about a 1/2 cup, about 1/4 cup of water here. Because I do want enough sauce here so that we simmer that meat and let it get good and tender. And I'm actually going to put a lid on it and turn it down low and just let it cook for about 20 to 30 minutes. So on with that lid, and like I said, and we're just going to let it cook for 20 to 30 minutes. So the last 5 minutes of cooking, I took that lid off of that skillet and let that simmer there and let the sauce thicken up on the ground meat. So it is now done. So let's slice up some bread and make a sloppy joe. So we're going to do an open face with the sloppy joe. I've got some homemade bread here. Check out that video of how we made the bread in the Ninja Speedy. And I've got a little bit of cheese on that bread, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that sloppy joe on there. And there you have it, homemade sloppy joe. Like and subscribe to see more.